Jin Hyuk's emotions shift, and he firmly tells Bao to cease his interference and leave him alone. He instructs Bao to proceed to the next floor and follow him if desired. As Jin Hyuk enters the portal to the next room, he's transported to the room of choice and training. The system extends a welcome, prompting him to select a weapon and class that best suits him. Once his choice is made, he's to destroy the floor beneath him, which will transport him to the tower's first floor. Jin Hyuk explains that in his previous life, after discovering he was a mana type, he promptly chose to become a mage. Generating a practice target, he employs his new trait, All-Rounder, to gauge its effectiveness. As targets appear, Jin Hyuk expertly employs a bow, hitting the targets with precision. He asks the system to generate more targets, this time with the ability to attack him. The system cautions him about the danger since he hasn't selected a class yet. With a confident smile, Jin Hyuk dismisses the warning, stating he doesn't mind. As the targets assail him, he adeptly uses the bow and sword to eliminate them. Standing assertively with dual weapons, he urges the system to summon more targets. The difficulty escalates, producing larger targets. Without hesitation, Jin Hyuk leaps onto a giant target, impaling it with a spear. Armed with 2 knives, he hurls them at targets behind him. Ranged targets emerge, but Jin Hyuk takes cover behind the giant target, avoiding their shots. The system alerts him that these are the most hazardous targets for this floor. Undaunted, Jin Hyuk dashes towards the staff and uses magical arrows to destroy the drone targets. Impressed with the prowess of the all-rounder trait, he attests to feeling as though he's been wielding these weapons for years. The system announces that he's cleared a new achievement, the All-Master achievement, attained by utilizing at least 1 weapon from each category in the room of choice and training. He's rewarded with All-Master unlocked attack stat plus 5,000. The system inquires whether he'd like to select All-Master as his class, but cautions that this choice can't be made once he exits the room of choice and training. Jin Hyuk contemplates his decision, realizing that even though the All-Master class is enticing, he can't abandon his primary advantage. Consequently, he decides to ask the system to designate All-Master as his subclass. Shock overtakes him as the system informs him it's impossible. He queries the system about the reason, and it responds that subclass slots can only be unlocked after the 100th floor. He regrets forgetting about this aspect during the early stages of the game. Although it might be wasteful, he considers utilizing his accomplishment points to unlock the subclass slot. He poses the question to the system, inquiring if he can use his accomplishment points for this purpose. The system expresses surprise at how a novice is aware of such a mechanism. It elucidates that accomplishment points are a currency earned through completing tasks, enabling users to make changes to the system. Jin Hyuk asserts that there's no need to question how he's privy to this knowledge. Speculating if he could utilize 5,000 points to unlock the subclass slot, he learns it's feasible, but he currently possesses only 5,000 points, while 5,500 are required. Annoyed, he states he'll employ Baal. Addressing the system, he calls out to the peak of all evil, Baal, revealing his identity in the previous conversation they had. He informs the system that there's an accomplishment for initiating dialogue with the gods for the first time. This act awards him 200 accomplishment points. The peak of all evil asks if he has done well, but Jin Hyuk pleads with Baal to never do something similar again. The system queries whether he'd like to use his accomplishment points to select All-Master as his subclass. Jin Hyuk agrees, and the system extends congratulations, bestowing him with the All-Master subclass. The system informs him that destroying the room of choice and training floor will transport him to the tower's first floor. With excitement, Jin Hyuk concentrates energy in his staff, ready to commence his quest for revenge. He destroys the floor beneath him, initiating his journey. Meanwhile, on the first floor known as Coral Forest, 2 climbers struggle to progress, questioning how they can conquer the tower if the initial floor poses such difficulty. A creature called a cobalt charges towards one of the climbers. Suddenly, a rift in the sky opens, and Jin Hyuk emerges, identifying the cobalt as his first prey. He lands on its head, swiftly slaying it. The witnessing cobalt trembles in fear, as Jin Hyuk eyes the climbers menacingly, sticking out his tongue and suggesting he wonders what he'll gain by devouring them all.